very nervous for fantasy football playoffs.
It's exactly
Um,
as I predicted. You have a great regular season and then
I
kaput
haven't
in the
won
playoffs.
before, and this guy's like,
Kaput in the playoffs.
yeah, I'm not trading with you because that'll make you too good. Well, here I am. Have never won before.
Have you made the
With
playoffs?
with the most points
No,
Did you make
for
the playoffs?
anybody's ever seen
no,
in our
I have not
dynasty
made the
league.
playoffs in the
This
last
is your
2
first time.
years.
This is your first time making the playoffs in the Dynasty League.
Yes,
No.
Damn.
I didn't make it last year or the year before.
You definitely didn't make it last year. I know that.
I
So
definitely
you're
didn't make it
saying
last year because I had the
the
first pick or first one of the first two picks.
you're saying that Tybo and I have been in the playoffs more than you.
We
Yes,
Me,
have.
clearly. Tybo did it last year as well too. So damn, dude.
this is the first year that I'm making the playoffs. I'm
And I
building a
should have
dynasty.
won
Don't
last
worry.
year,
Don't
dude.
worry.
No. I should have won last
Brother,
year.
brother, in
You
the
lost to
match
me.
in the match that I lost, I had more points for than the rest of the other two playoff teams. And then in the championship week when I'm going for third place, uh I believe I outscored everybody again, but then I could be mistaken. The champ did score a lot of points that week, but I was I was a victim of the crapshoot
Bad
that is
matchup.
fantasy football.
You're a
Yep.
victim of the bracket.
I was a victim of somebody random going off. I guarantee it.
I'm
That's
gonna look
usually
back
the
at this. I
case.
want to see how much I
This
beat you.
year,
That's
this year, whoever was playing Trevor Lawrence or Kyle Pitts, or God forbid, someone have Kyle Pitts and Trevor Lawrence on the same team, uh, that won a lot of people's first round of the playoffs.
um speaking of playoffs, we're only a couple of weeks away, and to many surprise, they're not locked. Like there's no locks. Nobody's even won their division yet. The Patriots had a chance to do it. We'll cover that here in a little bit, but nobody has actually locked up their division. That also includes the Broncos and the Rams. And because both sides, the AFC and NFC, are kind of stacked. I'd say the NFC more so, but in the AFC, you've got Baltimore just on the outside. They're one game behind Indianapolis, who is dropping games left and right. You've got Houston, Buffalo, and the Los Angeles Chargers sitting there, and Baltimore might even be able to squeak in because of Pittsburgh. We don't know what's going to happen there. They play Miami tonight, and Miami's sitting on the outskirts as well. They could go if they win and if they beat Pittsburgh tonight, they go 7-7, and they're trying to sneak their way in as well. If they lose, they're fully out.
If they lose, then this is guaranteed that they are not going to go 500 this year.
Um, oh, absolutely. But I mean, you're going to have a minimum of. I don't think anybody from the AFC side is going to have less than 10 wins going into the playoffs. You look at the NFC side, this is a crapshoot. You could have an
Everybody's going to have 10
11
wins no
win
matter what.
team miss the playoffs.
And the craziest part is that could more than likely be the Bears.
It very well could be. I mean, you
That
do
would be
have,
such a fitting end to a Bears season.
although it's probably not going to be given what happened to Green Bay. Again, we'll cover what happened to Green Bay
Yeah.
here in a little bit as well. It's most likely not going to happen to the Bears, given what happened in the Broncos game. But you've got the Rams, who currently have the number one spot, but it's not locked. They've only locked their spot into the playoffs at 11 wins. You've got their own division rival, the Seahawks, who have the same exact record. I think they play one more time to
On
finish out the
Thursday.
season. They come up this Thursday to play, which is going to be crazy. That's going to have massive implications for the number one seed winning the division, anything like that. You got four teams right now competing for the number one spot in the NFC: the Rams, the Bears, the Seahawks, and the San Francisco 49ers, three of them from the same division.
Is that really?
Uh,
I thought there was another team up there.
um, No, it's just those. It's just those. I mean, you've got a couple on the outskirts. You got Philly with 9 wins. You got Green Bay with 9 wins. They would both need a lot of help to get into the number one spot. You got Tampa and Carolina. Carolina currently is on the outside. They play each other one more time this season, but they're both
Tampa's
at
definitely
7 and
not
7.
Well, and
gonna get
Tampa's
10
looking
wins.
vulnerable as hell, man.
I mean, the Panthers just lost to the Saints, even
The
though it's a
Saints are
division rival.
on a roll right now, man.
Even though it's a division rival, the Saints are still bad.
Tybo's quarterback, Tyler Shuck, leading the way.
I guess I should have never
The,
expressed that I didn't like the guy because now I'm associated with him.
he's your guy, Tyler Suck.
Getting wins.
What's crazy here is Detroit, who hasn't really played very well this season, given what has transpired in the Green Bay game. They could sneak in. They could very well sneak in. They're only a game behind Green Bay at that seventh spot. Uh, they could find themselves in the playoffs when all hope was kind of really lost for them.
It kind of comes down to the last week for them. They essentially need to win out, and they need the Bears to lose uh, these next two games before they ended up playing them in Week 18. That would be an early playoff game for everybody, and you know how that usually goes with Bears and NFC North opponents. Not very
Well, they
good.
really just
I
need the
wouldn't quite
Packers to lose out.
I wouldn't quite make the leap that the Lions have played poorly this season, but their defense has certainly not played well against good teams or playoff teams. But that offense, I mean, I know they just lost a fairly high scoring game to the Rams, but that offense, given the right circumstances, can keep up with just about anybody. So if the Lions do make the playoffs, I I wouldn't in the NFC. I wouldn't really want to be the team that has to play them.
That's fair, and they don't really have a difficult schedule going forward. They do have two division games still lined up, but they play the Steelers, which I would for them would should be a fairly easy game, especially with TJ Watt probably being out the remainder of the season due to the collapsed lung. And then they play the Vikings, where nine only comes out once a season, maybe twice. And then they finish off with the Bears. Probably won't have like a number one seed locked up, so they'll still probably be playing for something, would be my guess. But really, they just need to get by the Packers to get in, which, given the injuries that just happened, that is very feasible. I'm not sure how Dallas isn't fully eliminated from the playoffs here. I guess they have three games remaining, and they do have a tie, so that helps them quite a bit. But I don't see them making the playoffs here at all.
A toll.
So, so the Packers need to win two out of their last three games essentially to make it. Because with that tie, they're going to be ahead of the Lions no matter what.
Technically, they only need to win one because
And they're playing the
they're currently one game ahead, plus they have the tie. So they only need to win one of the next three.
so they have to beat the Bears, the Ravens, or the Vikings. I can see that happening for the Packers, even with the injury.
I mean, they've lost more than just Micah Parsons is the other issue.
But they haven't lost Toyotathon.
That's all that matters. It's still going on.
Toyotathon is here until the new year, that's for sure. Well, we've got those
I think they'll
playoffs
be
coming
just
up.
fine, and they'll end up making it no problem. I think the Lions are the team that's on the outside.
Oh, they're most definitely on the outside, but
No, for sure. Like they're not making it.
wow, calling it.
Calling it right now. Bears find a way to end up making it.
Well, I mean, there's tons of games that are coming up in the next couple of weeks, division matchups that will obviously solidify playoff spots. But for right now, most of you, well, not most of you, probably half of you are in your own playoffs. And Tybo gave
Probably
you some
half of
tips.
you. And I did well this week, guys.
He gave you tips on how to win your week.
Gave you good tips.
Maybe you should have listened to him. I don't know. We'll find out. How did
This
your
week you should
just the
have.
tip work out this week?
This week you should have. Um, Stardom's quarterback Brock Purdy hadn't been playing great fantasy numbers wise this season, but you go up against a defense like the Titans, it's hard not to score 25 points.
Hey,
Okay.
Running back Travis Etienne versus the Jets. This is the
Which was
one
a
you
lock.
guys said was
a
obvious or
lock.
a lock. He had
Absolutely.
31 points.
Easy lock.
Okay. I mean, it's kind of slim pickings at this point on who's really worth giving as a tip to start. But um, my wide receiver for the startums, Terry McLaurin, he had 16 points. He had a 51-yard touchdown catch that was like the bulk, if not all of those points. But still 16 points, worth a start. My tight end was Theo Johnson. He got you 10 points. The only reason why that's a decent call is because my situm tight end was Brock Bowers, and he got 8.8, 8 almost 9 points. So I'm taking that as a win, considering my stardom tight end got me more points than my situm tight end, and the situm tight end was, someone who can routinely go off. But tough matchup playing the Eagles. Situm wide receiver Michael Pittman versus the Seattle Seahawks. Philip Rivers had better connections with the rest of the Colts wide receivers. Michael Pittman only got 5 points.
To be fair, though, to be fair on that, Philip Rivers only had like 120 yards throwing, and 40 of it went to Michael Pittman. So
I mean, Josh Downs had more points than him.
just that was only
He
because
had
he
a
scored a
touchdown.
touchdown. That's
So
it. No, completely fair though. Completely fair.
good call to sit the
Yes.
Philip Rivers number
Yes.
Good
one.
call.
Yes.
Okay, jeez.
Sure.
I'm waiting on Jalen Warren versus the Dolphins. When I made this call earlier in the week, I was unaware that he had an illness. So he is questionable to play tonight. If he doesn't play, that could certainly be counted against me. But considering every other pick I made,
Who was your quarterback?
was a good pick. Dak Prescott versus the Vikings only got you 11 points.
That was
You
I.
guys, you guys were
We
clowning
made.
that one. You're like
Yeah.
the best
Nope. We
quarterback in
did.
the NFL, like best
That was a good
offense.
call. Good call. You pass on to the next week regardless of Jalen Warren because it
Yeah,
was
I think
because
so.
the designation was I wouldn't even have counted that against you. The designation came today.
I'm still gonna
So I
give
get
you a C minus though. You're passing, but I'm still gonna give you a
It's
C
passing,
minus.
so I'm cool with that. I mean, me grading you guys, if we tell you to sit or start a player that ends up being out, I hold that against you. So
I would
It,
never if it's late.
if it's an illness like this on a Monday
I'm
night,
I'm
a
unfair.
little bit
So,
different.
Yes, you are.
but yeah, we'll see how it goes next week. Giving you more tips for fantasy playoffs.
The
I'm gonna
time
win
where it
you. I'm
really
gonna win you
matters,
your league. I'm gonna win you your league.
and don't worry, Tybo won't win his league.
I am out of the playoffs in all of them. Only made it in one league, and I just lost to you, Sean. So thanks for reminding me that.
Oh, you're welcome. I want to go back on a point you brought up earlier about last year's playoffs and how you were so good and you would have beat everybody.
He had to
Uh,
go look it up,
You
didn't
had to
he?
go back and
This
look.
was a
oh, I had to look it
conversation
up.
that happened off air. Like our listeners don't even know
No,
what you're referencing right now.
it definitely happened on air. He pushed record.
Oh.
I did push
So,
record.
round two, semifinals. You scored 133 points, and that was the lowest out of everybody in the semifinal round. Third place game, you scored 164 points, and that was enough to win you third place, but less than both teams in the championship.
You're you're
Did not
doctoring those
score.
results.
Did
You're
not
doctoring those
outscore.
results.
He said he could have won it.
You're
He
trying to
should
make
have
me
won
look
it.
bad. You're just trying to make me look bad. I will rise above.
Win.
Not this year.
Not for a few years, apparently.
On another note, pretty much every game we picked, game to watch and games of the week were good games. I mean,
Very
I
good
think our
games.
games of the week were kind of obvious choices here, but
But for game to watch, were you guys surprised by that? Colts 16, Seahawks 18.
I
I
was
thought it was
surprised
going to
it
be a
was as
full-on
much of
blowout.
a yeah, I was surprised it was as much of a defensive struggle. I think the Colts defense stepped up pretty big enough to hold the Seahawks to 18 points, but
It still goes to show you that Sam Darnold struggles in the month of December, no matter what team he's on.
well, and the Seahawks should be concerned for playoff hopes if they make it because the Colts are declining. The Colts aren't even we would like maybe upper half of the league right now, but they're they're
Let's
they're
let's talk
trending
about
downwards.
what the reason why I chose this game to watch, and that was Philip Rivers. Mentally, he is still fully 100% there. He was calling check downs, he was calling different plays and everything, knew what to do.
Well, yeah, 44 is a little early for Alzheimer's.
He's still a grandpa.
So,
He's still a grandpa. His body is nowhere close to being there though. He was throwing ducks all day.
He was just pushing the ball.
It was fun to
He
see
never
because
threw it.
he was just woo straight up. That last pass he had to, or one of the last passes he had to Josh Downs, I believe. Remember Josh Downs like looked back, couldn't even figure out where the ball was. Good idea by Phillip, but he put absolutely all he could into that, and that was a Hail Mary for him, and that went maybe what 25 yards if that. Like whenever they were down, it was funny. Philip Rivers down in the fourth quarter, going on a drive to try to win this for the Colts twice in this game. First time they ended up settling for that 60-yard field goal. They didn't even try to go for it and convert to a first down. That final drive for them, they were just worried about getting in field goal range and kicking that. And then whenever the Seahawks came back and scored, and the Colts were marching on the field with what 30 seconds left, you just knew Philip Rivers was not going to be able to throw that ball down there and get it to anybody at all for a Hail Mary. There was just no time left for them.
there's
Couldn't
no
get it.
time
I mean,
left
that's
for
what
Phil. He came back for the insurance.
that's it. That's and a nice little paycheck. Uh, they are on decline. I don't expect them to even make the playoffs at this point, barring a miracle. But I think the statement to say that the month of December and Sam Darnold don't go hand in hand is unfair. At least if we're using this particular game to be that example, because and I'm not saying that he played fantastic by any means, but there were multiple instances in that first half where it's not his fault. How many times there was three or four wide open drops by JSN. There was one specifically that would have been a touchdown for after catch, probably a 40 or 50 yarder that he just completely dropped. They had many opportunities, the Seahawks, to be up massively in this game from three or four different plays where wide receivers were just dropping wide open passes.
Sounds familiar.
We're very attuned to that situation. But I just think it's fair to put that on Sam Darnold. The Seahawks defense kept them in this game. And Jackson Smith and Jigba just had one of those games. I don't expect that to happen again for the remainder of the season. I expect their defense to obviously keep them in games. They're one of the best defenses in the leagues, and I don't expect Sam Darnold to lay an egg, and I don't expect JSN or any other weapon to lay an egg moving forward. I just a one off.
I think the possibility of Sam Darnold laying an egg is much higher than you might be insinuating there because he's had some tests this season where the old Sam Darnold kind of flashed its or reared its head or whatever. So I wouldn't be the coach that is fully confident in Sam Darnold going into playoffs.
I'm not saying be fully confident. I'm just saying I don't foresee that happening given that the issues they had in this game were primarily down to wide receivers just dropping open passes.
No,
I
they
don't
will
see
play
that being
better
an issue
teams and
again.
better defenses.
They'll play much better
Um,
defenses, and
so
Sam is going to struggle a lot coming up. That pressure is just going to get to him, man.
Also, to be fair, Colts have
the
a really
ghosts
good
don't
defensive line,
the
even with the
ghosts don't
fourth
ever go
corner.
away. You just learn to deal with them.
He's dealt with them pretty well, I'd say.
He's gonna get you. So moving on to games of the week, I chose Bills Pats, and this game had a little bit of everything. Um, Least of all defense, but Josh Allen was puking on camera. He says he does it every game, which is a little weird. What a pussy! But he played pretty well, mounting the comeback. You had Dave Portnoy filming at halftime, talking all the shit. You were only up by two scores. Two scores is nothing in an NFL game, truly. Couple of possessions changes that real quick, and Josh Allen went to town in the second half.
They changed it right before halftime. They were down 21 to 7 at one point. They scored the touchdown right before halftime.
Weren't they down 21-0 at one point?
They were down 21-0 at one point, so they were down three scores. They got the touchdown, got the ball back, scored right before halftime to cut the lead down to 21-14. They got the ball back after halftime, tied it up 21, and then the game went from there. And that's a massive collapse from the New England Patriots. You had two rushing touchdowns by Drake May, and you had two 50-plus yard rushing touchdowns by Travion Henderson. He had a 52-yarder and then a 67-yarder or something like that. Um, that's 28 points right there. Like your defense has to step up. There is Drake May played well. I don't know if you can
Well, he
say
played
like
well for the first
offensively.
half.
Listen, you put up 31 points unless you're turning the ball over, which he didn't, and you have to in droves. This is your defense's fault. I understand that it's Josh Allen and the Bills, but at some point you got to put together a stop, and you got to be able to hold a lead. And being up 21-0, you can't give up three scores unanswered.
Well, especially with the cornerback Benford out for the Bills, going out right before the game started. But Drake May having only, 155 yards throwing the ball as the guy who's leading the league in passing yards for the year,
Well,
that is
Travion
unacceptable.
carried the offensive load quite a bit, I would say.
You're also going against one of the worst defenses against the rush. Why in the world would you pass the ball when you're going up against one of the worst defenses in the run game and you have a two, three-headed monster in the backfield, especially when Travion Henderson is going off the way that he is? You run the ball. The game script says to run the ball, and that's what you do.
Yeah, you should definitely run the ball, run some clock out. But 155 yards for the passing leader in the NFL right now against a team that you should be able to do something against that you beat earlier in the year doing the same thing. If he's going to
I'm
be,
chalking this one up to it.
if he's in MVP conversation, he's got to have a better performance than that.
I sure if you're talking just MVP, but this is a defensive collapse. This is this is a this is nothing but a defensive issue. And that is concerning going into the playoffs, especially given your head coach is, and Mike Vrabel. Like Mike, get it together, buddy.
I mean,
It,
that's kind
He's
of
been
been
here
my thoughts
before.
about the Patriots for this season. Like the only person I can really name on their defense is Christian Gonzalez.
You're forgetting one
Fucking
guy.
Crimson Chin Christian Gonzalez.
You're forgetting one main guy that Mike Vrabel had whenever he was the number one seed with Tennessee as well. Harold Landry.
Wow.
Had
You
them
hear
both.
that?
congrats, you can name
That's
two.
nobody recognizing that name.
That
So
was crickets.
You guys don't know ball. That's all it is.
Who I mean, they're good team defense. They've shown that throughout the season, but you're getting into the later stages, and it doesn't matter if it's the Bills, it doesn't matter if it's prime 2019, 2020 cheat. It doesn't matter. You have to go out and put up some stops. If your offense is going out there and put up 21 skunking them, you cannot let up 35 and give up the game. It's just something you can't do. And the Bills, That's it doesn't necessarily instill confidence for me going into the playoffs for them. This is Josh Allen's year. You're going into a weak AFC playoff here, and your team is just
with no
because you
Patrick
mounted
Mahomes.
this comeback. You've got no Patrick Mahomes. You're probably not going to have Lamar Jackson. You've got no Joe Burrow. You've got nobody that you're like. Are you afraid of Bo Nix? Are you afraid of
You're
Drake
afraid of that
May? Or
defense.
like, sure, but you're not against the offense. And with Josh Allen being who he is, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, who can go out and everybody says he can do anything. This is your year to win it, and there's nothing that the Bills have done this season who instill confidence to a fan in neutral or a fan who doesn't have their team in the playoffs. You got to go out and do it. I don't think
So,
they can or
so
will.
this past game against the Patriots gave you no hope if you're a Bills fan. You're down
No, no,
21-0
no,
at one point, and they're currently top two
not
seeds.
not for Bills fans, for outside fans. If you're a Bills fan, you're happy that this team can mount a comeback. This is that's what you want to see, that you're not giving up. But for an outside observer of somebody who's not a Bills fan, I'm not confident that Jock or this Bills team this season can
I
go and do it.
they clearly have their weak spots on defense. They're terrible against the run. So if someone gets a lead on them and their defense doesn't collapse and they run the clock out, I mean that would be a very clear path to the Bills' demise in the playoffs. But Josh Allen and James Cook can damn near will this team to victory.
James Cook.
So what did I say?
No, you can leave Josh Allen's name out. You can just say James Cook. That's their
Josh
MVP
Allen's
this year.
good, man. There's no you can shut up. So
Josh Allen
yeah,
is tall.
if uh if I was saying I really don't want to play the Lions in the NFC playoffs because of their offensive capabilities, I really wouldn't want to play the Bills. Outside if I'm the Denver Broncos because I feel like their defense is equipped to deal with the Bills. But I just a quick aside here before we get into the next game of the week. You think Vrabel is looking back on the early part of this season and really kicking himself for not unleashing Travion Henderson?
No, he should be, but he's probably not.
With the way
Well,
he's playing
so
now, he's
he
fine with
should
that.
be because we like
Should
the
be.
Patriots uh lost a game or two earlier on in the season because of Ramondre Stevenson's fumbling problems. So
They'd have it
like
locked up.
Travion Henderson should have been unleashed week one, man.
You think he would have been that big of a difference to beat the Raiders?
Yeah.
We can't forget that they lost to the
Absolutely.
Raiders.
They wouldn't have fumbled so many times. Ramondre Stevenson had like a 2 or 3 game fumble that time around with the Raiders. You put Travion Henderson in, and you probably don't have those issues. To the other side of that coin, if you play Travion Henderson as the lead back through most of the season, he's probably not as healthy going into the postseason as he is.
I think he's peaking at the right time for them.
Smoke him if you got him.
He should be. Mike Vrabel should be kicking himself because they could have the division locked up and maybe be
For
top of the
sure.
AFC.
We're gonna go ahead and move to the next game of the week. That is the Packers versus the Broncos. Packers 26, Broncos 34. This was a much higher scoring game than I originally anticipated, especially with these two very, very good defenses. But Bo Nix came alive in this game. Toyotathon is full on and alive in Green Bay. Josh Jacobs had one of the most amazing catches by a running back I have ever seen for a
That
touchdown
was a
in this
great
game.
catch.
That was fantastic. I had no idea
Coming
how he
coming
caught
from a
that.
guy who was like known as like he like didn't get receiving touchdowns
Yeah. He got his first one halfway through the
last
season
year.
last year.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to see how he caught that ball. Bo Nix was putting the ball in places wherever only his receivers could get it, and the Broncos defense came alive in the second half. That pick by Patrick Surtain on Christian Watson, where Christian Watson ended up hurting his arm in that situation. I don't know exactly what his injury is, but it did not look good in any way. But Pat Surtain had one of the best interceptions I have seen this year as well, too. That was fantastic on that deep ball.
Well, that's where that game got out of hand. Like, I mean, this score isn't necessarily indicative of how the game was going. It was, I think, tied at that point or very close to. And in the span of literally 20 minutes, not game minutes, but real life minutes, Micah Parsons tears his ACL. Christian Watson breaks his clavicle. He's having a horrible time over the last couple of years. They also lost their right tackle. I believe it was Zach Tom. Make sure I have his name right. I have it written down here. Yeah, Zach Tom. He goes out with a knee injury, and then linebacker Quay Walker goes out with I believe, also a knee injury. Those two final ones would return to the game, but at that point it was already out of hand. The score, the Broncos had scored, getting them to 34-26, and time was already on the outskirts. It was that was a span of 20 minutes. You lose two of your top players. Michael Parsons, you just made huge trades for. That is the Packers have already stated that they're expecting him back no earlier than October, putting him out for the next 10 months. Could be November by the time that he's back, especially with ACL and being a dynamic player. You need to be able to bend and make those cuts. It's expected. And then Christian Watson, I don't even know what to expect from him at this point. He's had so many injuries,
Retirement.
making himself unavailable. I would expect them not to bring him back after his rookie contract is done, and yeah, I expect him to probably miss most of next season.
It's just nonstop with him. He gets hurt way too much now.
Had a great rookie year, and then after that, it's been 3 years of just bad luck after bad luck after bad luck.
The Broncos offense looked fantastic though in this game, honestly, going up against the pretty solid Green Bay defense. I know Michael Parsons got hurt late in the game, so that may have helped them finish this off. But the whole entire first half and beginning of the game, they looked really hard to stop. Bo Nix was throwing the ball like he should be. Very surprisingly, I was not expecting him to make that many completed passes in this game. I thought he was going to struggle a lot more. But you got Marvin Mims out there. He was showing up in this game. RJ Harvey is a fantastic piece for them at running back with J.K. Dobbins hurt for the rest of the year, and you still have Cortland Sutton. Like if Bo
I
Nix can play
would
like that for the rest of the year, the Broncos are very, very scary.
I would give up a lot to have Marvin Mims on the Chiefs.
The hell do you mean by a lot?
I would give up a lot to have him on the Chiefs.
What do you mean by a lot? Like you you completely sidestepped the question there.
Too much for what he's worth, that's for sure.
Probably, but also just his speed. He doesn't run the greatest routes, but he knows how to get separation. He knows his role. He can also be a fantastic return man, something that we're missing out on. And nobody is ever going to be Tyreek. Nobody. But I feel like he would be much better at that role than who we currently have uh, at that position.
Maybe we just need a wide receiver coach that can actually develop wide receivers.
That too. My game of the week was offensive firepower, left and right. Lions, Rams. Rams walk away with another big 40-point win. That's 2 weeks in a row now. They've put up 40 points. Granted, last week was the Cardinals, but doing it against the Lions is a huge test. Even though the Lions defense hasn't been that great, there was a spot here where, hey, I thought the Lions might be able to keep control of this game. They were up by a couple scores going into halftime. Amon-Ra St. Brown was torching the Ram defense for the entire first half. You couldn't you They tried to put three guys on him at once and nobody could hold him. I mean, he was all over the field, catching everything in his vicinity and just getting yards after catch. There was not a lot that the Rams could do, and they couldn't even put Jared Goff under very much pressure. The Lions offensive line was battle tested for that first half. And then halftime came. And the Rams, Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, who could not, Matthew Stafford could not get on the same page with anyone in the first half. That was very detrimental. He had multiple trips to the red zone, could not get with Devontae Adams, couldn't figure it out. Devontae Adams goes out of the game. Puka Nacua would eventually go out in the game later on in the fourth quarter with a head injury. So hopefully, for the Rams' sake, he can come back, and hopefully Devontae Adams can come back. But two big injuries, but in that span of a portion of the game, Matthew Stafford was able to link up with Puka Nacua. Kyron Williams was able to go off, and that was it. Lions defense could not get a stop anywhere on that field.
I was gonna say Puka had one drop in the first half where the ball was right in his hands and he just dropped it somehow. After that, I don't think he dropped a single ball. Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua have a connection unlike any other quarterback wide receiver combo in this whole entire league right now. And if I were any other team in the NFC, I would be scared seeing them in the playoffs and really hope Puka's not playing.
Matthew Stafford is going to do the unthinkable with three different wide receivers in three different eras of the game. Triple
Do you really
crowns.
think? Do you think Puka's gonna get that with how much he's been out this year?
JSN
I
is
think he
far
was
and away
on.
the receiving yard leader.
Sorry, he was on pace at one point, but yeah,
He
he's.
was
I
on
don't
pace
think he's
before
going to.
Puka got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot that
J-
extended period of time.
JSN is the receiving yard leader by like at least 200 yards, I believe.
Dang,
Yeah.
somebody take his leg out.
Whoa, dude.
Just,
We don't
just
wish
for
for
just for a
injuries.
game. Just for a game. Get Puka the
No.
triple crown. Is that I mean that would be incredible to do it with three different receivers. Um, that would
The
be
man
that would
deserves
be
to be in the
really
Hall
cool.
of Fame.
That
He
would be
deserves
really
it.
cool. I mean, he's going to be. He's going to win MVP this year. He absolutely should. I don't care about Drake, but it needs to be Matthew Stafford. What he's been able to do on this team. Granted, he's got great weapons, but to go up against the defenses that he's gone against and be able to pick them apart, to be able to do it in the NFC that is absolutely stacked this year, and very very interesting. Anytime since Patrick Mahomes has been the Chiefs starting quarterback anytime that the Chiefs have not made the AFC playoffs, or excuse me, the AFC championship game, the Rams have won the NFC championship.
Say that one more time for me.
I believe it's
Anytime,
only been one other time that we didn't make the AFC Championship game.
No,
no, no, no.
Pat's
Anytime that
Pat's
we
made it every
haven't,
single
anytime that
Pat's made
the
it every
Chiefs
single year.
have not won the AFC championship,
Not
the
one.
Rams
Okay.
have. Sorry, I may have said that wrong. Anytime
I was
the
gonna say they've
Chiefs
made
have
it every
not
single year that Pat's been in the league.
made or won the AFC championship, the Rams have won the
Right,
NFC
and we
championship.
we went to 5 out of the last 6 Super Bowls. So there's only one time that we didn't win the AFC Championship game.
I think they're also considering 2018 because Pat was in the league. So 18,
So you're counting the year that he
the other
didn't.
one.
He started
Yes.
one game.
No,
That
that's
was the
2017.
set that I saw. Yeah, or yes.
I was gonna say because
2018
he
was his big first starting season.
we made the AFC Championship every single year Pat started. So I'm trying to understand your stat.
Yeah,
We've only lost it once. Wait, no, twice because we lost.
twice.
Yeah.
Those 2 years that we lost it, the Rams won. So this would be the
And so
third.
he's predicting since we're not winning the AFC Championship game again this season,
Rams are gonna
the
make the
Rams are
Super
going to
Bowl.
do it
There you go.
Okay.
because coincidences are law. That shut up.
It's law,
What
damn
does
it.
that even mean? It's the
It's
law.
law.
Abo's the law man.
Coincidence. It's a coincidence. Okay, it doesn't mean
It's the
anything.
law, damn it.
You are taking it as law. Like if this happens, this will happen. It's just a coincidence.
The little old coinky dink.
I'm gonna coink your dink.
Whoa! We got that live on air.
You gonna record that? I don't think anybody should see that.
Oh, it's going in.
You're not gonna cut it.
Absolutely not. John's not either.
No, I'm talking about him actually performing that.
Oh, winking
Performing
on the
what?
dinkin.
You're Coinkin is Dinkin.
Okay, let's move on.
I don't know how much you guys want to talk about it. You haven't wanted to talk about it over the last couple weeks.
You
Chiefs
certainly wrote
lose.
enough fucking notes.
Jeez. Guy doesn't like to be prepared.
I mean,
Chiefs lose to the Chargers, playoff
should
hopes.
we be happy about this situation? Should we be excited to talk about it? Should we want to talk about it?
I mean, I
I think
think
the only
there are
bright
some.
thing out of this is it's confirmed that Patrick Mahomes has never had a snap in the NFL where his team is eliminated from the playoffs.
It's fair. That's true. That is true. This was the worst case scenario for the Kansas City Chiefs. You lose the playoffs, which is
But yeah,
you,
even past the playoff picture, like this was the
this
worst
was
possible outcome that
literally
we
the
could have fucking
worst
had.
possible outcome. There was only like a slightly worse outcome that could have happened from this, and that would have been a horrific tragedy that nobody would be talking about. But an ACL tear for Patrick Mahomes, which means he's out for an extended period of time. As we talked about, the Packers have Micah Parsons at 10 months. The normal recovery time for an ACL tear is roughly 8 to 9 months. There was a doctor on local radio here in Kansas City, 96.5, that said Patrick Mahomes, pending everything. Obviously, we don't know everything. They've got to go in and do the surgery. I did say Patrick Mahomes could potentially be back for week one, but he would obviously have to be a much different player and just specifically play in the pocket. I think that's probably going to have to change. Like, be Patrick's change is just staying inside the pocket, not very much running for probably the remainder of his career, given this injury. But that would have to be the focus going into next year. Otherwise, if he's going to continue to try to be that dynamic player where he does run in his game, that's probably going to be further extended, probably still looking at October or November per return table. But
Now,
obviously, they
do you
don't know
believe that
yet.
timeline, or do you believe that Patrick and the way his body heals very weirdly, he'll come back faster?
I mean, it's
Everybody's
not
different.
even just about the way his body heals. Like, I mean, physical therapy and, all the exercises and stuff you do to rebuild that part of your body. Like the obviously the man has loads of money and he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL since he's been in the league, so he's going to have access to all the best stuff and specialists and techniques and all that junk. So I mean, he's got the Jordan Kobe mentality to where like he's going to outwork everybody, and he clearly has every desire in his body to like you know display a certain standard while he plays football. So like he's not going to let an ACL get in the way of getting back to that, because there's plenty of other examples of people coming back from an ACL and being all right.
I mean, look at one of the most freak things was Adrian Peterson coming back as quickly as he did and literally not missing a beat. Um, but everybody's body's different, and we've got good news from Andy Reid already is that it was only the ACL. There was no other damage, and that even the damage to the ACL didn't seem as bad as what it could have been, and so there's some optimism for quicker recovery, quicker timeline. But obviously, we won't know anything until they report on what has happened from the surgery and if anything else was found or if nothing else was found. There's just obviously a lot of unknowns. Trying to put a timeline on it at this point in time would too tough to pinpoint and a little ridiculous. But the speculation on it is interesting given everything that could go into it.
I think there's a lot of optimism on. Let me figure out how to word this. It's not good that Patrick tore his ACL, but there's optimism that the Chiefs are going to end up clearing house with some of the coaching staff this offseason because we did not make the playoffs. Because this should not have happened. We should not be in a position where we're missing the playoffs with Patrick Mahomes as quarterback, with our offense
Uh,
playing this poorly for the whole entire season.
Absolutely agree. I think you can go back and you can look at what EB did versus what Nagy has done as OC, regardless of who's playing the calls. You still have people in Andy's ear and Patrick's ear calling the plays, figuring out the scheme. And there's been a massive fall off in production, not only from Patrick's standpoint, but from the rest of the offense's standpoint. I think you got to point fingers at Brett Veach for constructing the team the way that it was. Andy obviously is needs some blame there. Um, I would go as far to say is there's people outside of the organization, the Chiefs organization, whether it's players or staff, that are to blame for this, and that being the NFL as a whole. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, but you added in a 17th game with no extra or an eight. You've added in an extra week with no extra bye week. In fact, you removed a bye week when you go to the playoffs because only one team from each conference gets a bye week. You've added in Christmas Day games. You've added in Black Friday games. You've made a Thursday schedule more robust, a Monday schedule more robust. At one point last season, you had the Kansas City Chiefs play 3 games in the span of 10 days. You've had the Kansas City Chiefs on, and this is not to blame the NFL for saying the Chiefs are the premier team and that we want to showcase them. That's what you do as an organization. But you also need to have barriers in place to protect players if we're supposed to be going around with this player safety initiative, right? We're protecting quarterbacks. We're making defenses play a specific way. You also need to put in barriers to protect players from themselves and the injuries around them and the timelines that you're going to make them play. And you've got guys playing 3 games in 10 days over multiple seasons with no extra breaks, with no extended periods of layoffs to recover their bodies or to take care of themselves. And the NFL, this isn't just for the Chiefs. This is for the entire, all 32 teams. NFL needs to take a big look and start implementing better scheduling when it comes to this. Maybe we need to remove Thursday games. Maybe we need to remove a holiday game or something in here, or just input an additional bye week, maybe 2. But there needs to be additional layers of protection around these players if we're going with this player safety initiative.
You also factor in taking away a preseason game and having less time to prep for a regular season. That's another game. So that's another piece of that is concerning with just across the league seeing all the injuries that are out there.
Looking at it this season, I saw a metric pop up on my feed earlier. Let me see if I can find it here. There were multiple large injuries this year. We had one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 torn ACLs this season. We also had 2 Achilles torn this season from major players. You had Micah Parsons, Pat Mahomes, Nick Bosa, Malik Neighbors, Tyreek Hill, Tucker Kraft, Zach Ertz, and Marshawn Lattimore, who all tore their ACL. Zach Ertz was that freak one,
You had
and then you had
Tyreek was a
Scadaboo's
freak one
injury.
too.
Scadaboo's in there, and these are just ACLs and Achilles. Then you had Najee Harris and Daniel Jones with the torn Achilles. You've got the other things from where they said that they're going to implement these rules for hip drop tackles that have been breaking ankles over the last couple of seasons, and those haven't necessarily, even though they've been implemented, held to the standard that you put it towards. And so, like again, all these protections that are even being put in place are not being met with the scrutiny that you have immersed them with. And so we've got an issue from the NFL's standpoint between not putting protections in and putting protections in and not standing by
They need to get rid of resistance bands too, because
them.
Anthony Richardson. Whew.
Well, I mean, you're not gonna until the NFL sees a season where like half the starting quarterbacks go out and just a certain percentage of like recognized name players are just out and you're having a game where the 22 guys on the field you can probably name like 2 of them. Like as soon as the NFL once this starts cutting into like more so than it is now, cutting into that star power and name recognition, and like fans aren't going to want to cheer for guys they don't know.
I, I can get behind that. I think that is very true, but I would also go as far to say is the league changed 2 rules very quickly for Tom Brady. You had a rule made up in the middle of a game, the tuck rule for Tom Brady, and then you had another one where in the same exact scenario at the very beginning of the season, Bernard Pollard goes in, tears Tom Brady's ACL, and then the very next season they impart where hitting zones for quarterbacks. You can't hit them below a certain area, and you can't hit them above a certain area. And so, while I do agree that more things would move should bigger names start missing more playing
Well,
time, you've
this
also
would
got
this would
this.
probably be more related to your like scheduling
Sure, yeah, yeah, yeah,
talk.
that makes
Like
that makes more
they're
sense.
they're
Yeah,
not gonna they're not gonna give them more breaks unless we get to the point where we have a bunch of no names playing on the field.
yeah,
You
and
got
granted, I
enough
mean,
star power, you got enough name recognition. Like the NFL's really not gonna care.
yeah, I would be interested to see if the NFL would even consider talks about something. Obviously, the bargaining collective bargaining agreement is coming up for the players and the NFL.
The
There's
only way
already
the
been
NFL will do
discussions.
this is if they ended up getting another game. They'll do the two bye weeks, but they're not going to do this unless they get something in return.
I think that would be a fair trade-off. I know that stuff has already been in discussion, and why the players and the NFLPA have already talked about potentially doing a lockout. Is the NFL wants that 18th game, and I think we'll probably end up getting it, but the NFLPA cannot back down on this. And I think there need to be more concessions made by the NFL in terms of time frame, because obviously we're talking about, you've added in another game, and here's you need an extra bye week. There need to be protections put in place where you can't play 3 games in 10 days. You can't. There has to be ample amount of time for recovery, especially when we're also talking about you're going cross
They
country
should bargain
traveling
for like
all the time.
mandatory periods of rest. Like if you don't get
Absolutely.
at least 5 days in between a game or something like that, then it should be void or something. Like the playing too many games in a short amount of time. I mean, you play one rugby tournament and you realize like, man, I don't really want to continue doing that. Like four 80-minute games in one day. Like you magnify that to a professional level in a sport where you feel invincible and you're completely unhindered by your inhibitions because you got pads on and a helmet. Like you can't be making them even play 2 games in less than a week because I mean that's criminal.
Some things are going to have to change, and I mean, refs have been bad. We've talked about that, and that's not anything to necessarily harp on. That's not a Chiefs thing. That's a sport thing, even because it goes into college as well. The NFL has a lot of things that they need to get cleaned up, and scheduling and rest, this player safety initiative, is definitely one of them. And that's not like specific to Pat. Even in this scenario, that's, this Chiefs team has played what, 2 additional seasons, maybe 2.5 additional seasons over the last 8 years, 7 to 8 years, with their playoff runs. It was inevitable that this was going to happen, given that the way that the NFL wants to make these scheduling things happen, and it's no one thing that caused this season to come apart for the Kansas City Chiefs. But I would go out on a limb and say that the NFL and their scheduling played a large part in how this played out.
Them boys are tired, man.
And boys want to go to Cancun.
Yeah. Let them have it this offseason. And when speaking about the Chiefs off seasons or the Chiefs optimism to change certain things this offseason, um, staffing changes will be nice. Some scheme
They'll happen.
changes, new player additions. That's when you start to lose a little bit of the optimism because we've talked many times about how the books look terrible for next year. 36 guys are under contract, 40 mil over the cap. Um, is is the optimism misplaced? Is there a real chance that the roster gets retooled to where when Pat comes back, he doesn't have to do it all and run around with it like a chicken with his head cut off? Or are we now 2 years looking at a 2 year rebuild instead of just fixing it in one off season?
We're definitely going to be fixing parts in this offseason. It's not going to be a full fix, but with Pat, anything can happen, so you never know. But I, I think honestly, I hate saying it, but Veach has got to go. We got to get some other voice in there to do something different. What he's been doing recently, he's been getting some good players, but where he's missing is not what we need right now. And some of the contracts he's been giving out has not been helping us in the way that we thought they should be helping us. So just getting a new voice in there, different different voice, drafting people, something like that has got to change for it to be that full rebuild where we can't
I'm
rely on Pat
When
for
it comes to
everything.
staff changes, I'm not ready to boot Veach out. Like
I'm not ready to either, but
I
I'm just
want a scheme
trying to be
change.
realistic.
I want different route combinations. I want some
That brings me to another point
I
that I've
want some
seen though.
different personnel in the offense, but I'm not ready to give up on Veach.
The
Now
route combinations for these
if he
receivers
throws a
though.
dud in this draft, like I'm I'm ready to hear somebody else give somebody else a try drafting players, but I'm not the man has done a lot for us.
He
This
definitely has.
offseason,
But going back to route combinations, do you think that it was Patrick throwing hospital balls, or do you think it's just that the opposing team knows exactly what routes we're running?
both,
Since there's not a
So
big difference in
both.
I
combination
did
for our
see
routes.
well before this game this weekend, I did see some film analysis on the Chiefs offense where Andy runs trips and the same route combination with the same look um, every time he comes out in it. What I think for me, what it comes down to is there needs to be route combinations where guys get open quicker in specific situations. We've had plenty of times where Pat needs to get the ball out, but nobody's open because nothing's developed. And he's just in general, he got hurt because he was holding on to the ball. He needs to get the ball out faster. And when you get that success with quicker throws and better schemed routes, the other stuff will come. The confidence builds and other things start to fall in place. Pat can't continue, I mean, especially when he comes back with off an ACL, but we've been saying this all season. Pat can't continue to feel like he has to do it all when A, the play calling isn't situationally effective, and B, the rest of the roster just has been falling short. Receivers aren't getting separation. All positional players are dropping passes, and then we lose the highest paid guard in the NFL to injury, and we have no run game.
Yeah, there's a lot that needs to be unpacked this offseason from scheme, and it's not like it's both, right? It's scheme and it's Pat. Uh, nothing meshed well. We go into this offseason, and any optimism is going to be totally based around if Patrick Mahomes can make it back in time to make a difference, right? Or is it going to be the Joe Burrow situation where the Chiefs are already out of the playoffs by the time Patrick, or near out of the playoffs by the time Patrick Mahomes can make it back, or can he make it back when there's still games to be played?
So do you
The
think in that
biggest
sense,
But
in this offseason, the team's going to go lean more heavily on getting defensive pieces or offensive pieces?
the
I can't
biggest
have any optimism with the way the books look, is what I'm saying. It doesn't
and
matter if
that's
Pat comes
where
back. If we don't have any money to pay anybody to get new players, it doesn't matter when Pat comes back.
and that's the biggest piece. That's where I wanted to go this whole time. Is this is not like Veach is not leaving now, but I will say this: this offseason and how next season goes will probably be the determining factor on if he will return for the season after. 40 million over cap on the books, 36 players currently on the roster. You currently have one going into next season. You currently have one running back, Brashard Smith. You have three receivers. Your number one tight end is Noah Gray. Your number two is Jared Wiley. You've got another guy on there who was on the practice squad. Defensively, you have no Sam linebacker. Leo Chanel is not under contract. Potentially could be. We'll see. You've got one safety. Brian Cook isn't there, by the way. It's Chamari
Even if
Connor
he
and
does get
one
under
other guy.
contract, it's not like he's going to be on the field. He's on the field for 2 downs a
uh,
series. Like they take him
J-
off.
Jaden Hicks is on the books, but so that leaves Hicks and Chamari Connor. I think you have Trent McDuffie and one or maybe two other safeties. Drew Tranquil will be on the last year of his deal. Defensive line is decimated from exterior to interior. You've got nothing.
I like Ashton Gelati.
Well, I mean, as far as depth goes, like you've got almost nothing. And I do like Ashton Gelati a lot, but that leaves Ashton Gelati, FAU, and George Karloftis, and that's it. You've got Omar Norman
Omar
Lott,
Norman
and you
Lott.
have that's interior. You've got
That's another
Omar Norman
ACL.
Lott,
That's another ACL tear,
another
though.
ACL tear there. And you've got Chris Jones, and that's like it for the defensive line. So what do you do moving forward? Like Mike Dana's going to have to get cut. I forgot about him. He'll make some room, about $9-10 million in cap space. You'll cut Juwan Taylor. That'll make $20 million in cap space. You've got a lot of moves that you have to make, and a lot of cuts that you have to make just in order to get to zero, and then come back in. You've got 5 picks. That's not a lot to retool a team with 36 already. You're probably going to have 30 left at most by the time that you get to making decisions, or that you've got 30 guys on the roster before draft picks that you have to get at or slightly underneath cap space. And so whatever Veach can do this offseason and make for next season, for this upcoming season, will be the determining factor, and then the performance of next season will be the determining factor if he is brought back in 2027. Will that is what I believe. Don't forget that he is not a Clark Hunt hire. Don't forget that. Andy Reid is the reason why Brett Veach has the job. And that doesn't mean that Brett Veach didn't earn that job. Andy Reid was given the reins to bring in who he wanted. John Dorsey stayed as the GM of the Kansas City Chiefs during Andy's beginning seasons because Andy allowed it. John Dorsey was fired because Andy said he needed to be fired and didn't want to work with him anymore. And they brought Brett Veach in because Andy said so. If
And do you think
Andy leaves
Andy's
at
going to
any
say that
point
about
in the
Nagy,
next,
though? Do you
what's
really
that?
think he's going to say that? Do you think Andy's going to say that about Nagy?
Nagy, there will be conversations and understood that Nagy will need that coaching changes will need to be made, and Nagy will be one of them if he does not leave for a head coaching gig, which he is
I hope he
probably
does
unlikely
leave.
to get.
I hope he leaves.
Um, but all that to say is whatever happens in this offseason and the performance of next season will determine if Veach is staying on. That could force Clark's hand given the limited remaining time that we have with Patrick Mahomes in the NFL.
Didn't Tom Brady go a full decade between Super Bowl wins?
He did. He made a few. He made a few. Lost a few, but he did go a decade without winning.
It's still the weirdest thing how they both have Patrick and Tom both have 3 Super Bowl wins before year 9, then both in year 9 tearing their ACLs as
ACL
well.
tears, yeah.
It's weird.
I mean,
Another
Weird
one of those
coincidence.
coinky
those two
dinks.
names, those two names will be talked about forever. And I've mentioned this before when we were on the subject. Pat has to be kicking himself that he didn't beat Tom Brady in the playoffs because regardless of how many Super Bowls he gets, he will always have that against him in that debate. He couldn't beat Tom when it matters. He couldn't beat Tom in an AFC Championship game on the Patriots, and he couldn't beat Tom on the Bucks in a Super Bowl.
Do you think
I
he's
saw a
always going to have a
tweet.
grudge towards D Ford
Should
at all times?
absolutely should.
Man, there was a lot of bullshit calls in that game though.
Chris
There
Jones
was.
roughing the passer
Rough in the
by
passer, man.
tapping his
I
shoulder. That
don't,
was wild.
I can't,
Uh,
I don't think I'll ever get over that one, dude.
no, that was wild. The season is over for the Chiefs. It's not over for us. We'll still be here
There's no
talking
pressure,
all the
guys. We
playoffs.
just go out there and just throw a bunch of stuff and see what sticks, you know?
What if Gardner is like the second coming of Jesus now?
Bro, you saw that pick he threw at the end of the game, right? The idea was to give Travis Kelce a shot at the ball, and he threw it right to the defender.
I blame the offensive coordinator.
So,
I
yeah,
bet I
okay.
bet Veach is pretty happy now that he didn't make that trade for Brees Hall because it wouldn't have mattered. It's like, see,
Well, I mean,
You
if
never
we
know.
get a more dynamic running back, game flow goes differently. Pat doesn't have to be scrambling like that,
Pat
bro.
probably doesn't tear his ACL. Yeah, no, that's 100%. Matt Nagy would have kept his job though, and I'm okay with that.
Boo.
We'll still be around. We're not going anywhere. We got a lot of football to cover. We're getting real
Pick 'em.
close to the
Pick
playoffs.
'em.
Oh,
Yeah,
pick them, pick them, pick
don't
them.
try to end this show
Sorry, my bad, my
without
bad.
giving me my
We've got
flowers.
one game remaining on
Had
the
a good
week.
just the tips week, and I'm leading in pick'em.
Yeah. There's a full on
Yeah,
separation
yeah.
of first, second, and third this week. Sean at one point was 2-7. He ends up 4-11. Just like the rest of his season, it's been horrific. Don't
I've been having a rough year.
What are you
don't
tanking for? What
don't
is the
take that
benefit
man's
of just
advice
trying to
for anything.
suck?
Who says I'm tanking?
You're clearly tanking.
He doesn't
I
know
don't know
ball, man.
why,
He
but
doesn't know ball. I'm
I
gonna
want
come
you to
in
feel
second
better about your
place.
pick'ems this year.
Currently 7-8. He asked you a question. I didn't know if you were going to answer it. You're clearly
I
That
didn't.
really
ignoring it.
wasn't a question. That was just a
You
Uh,
statement.
spoke over somebody. And I didn't hear what you said.
Fair
So
enough. I'm going to go 7-8. Well, with a game remaining, Sean and Tybo have picked the Dolphins to cover a 3-point spread against the Steelers. I've chosen the Steelers pre TJ Watt lung collapse. So we'll see how that plays out.
bum
Ooh.
bum bum.
Let's go, Chris
Um,
Boswell.
but
Get 11
there
points.
will be
11 fantasy points.
with where we're currently standing, Sean is 39 games under 500, 92 wins, 131 losses. Tybo and I are currently one game under 500, both at 111 wins, 112 losses against the spread.
Hey, only
Depending
19 games
I
on
back.
thought we were over 500.
You were.
we were, and then we were not. So depending on how tonight's game
You're doing
goes,
math wrong or something. Something's up with
one
your
of us one of us will be the leader for the week and the leader overall by one game.
Yeah.
This is a
It's
big
going to be a
game.
tight race. It's going to be a big game. It's going to be a tight race to the finish between Tybo and I, it feels like. This guy's probably just going to fade me the entire way with if the Dolphins end up covering tonight, he's probably just going to fade me every single game so he wins by one.
I don't know.
He's
The way you
lame
guys
like
have been
that.
No,
playing,
you
the way
mean
you guys have
tail
been
you.
picking, I can just pick opposite of you
Oh,
every
yeah,
time, and I have
whatever.
I have a chance.
Yes, tell me. You will tell me.
But let's have this go. Let's have this go all the way up to the Super Bowl, man.
I'd like it. I'd like it. I'd like to,
Let's give the fans a show.
Give me a chance to get back in this.
Bob and Bo show.
Sean, you are 39 games under 500.
I'm 19 games back from you, both of you. It's still possible.
I got so excited with how well we were doing like in consecutive years. I made the suggestion to people listening to just
Follow us.
play single game bets on our picks. And this year that would have not worked out for you. You would have lost a lot of money, especially listening to Sean. So
We
I
are doing
apologize.
better
I
than
apologize.
the average though. The average is still
Still
well
losing money.
under 500.
Vegas is up this year.
Vegas is big time up.
Vegas is up. Don't bet against the house, all right?
Don't
Maybe
recommend
we
it.
just suck at this.
That would mean all of America sucks at this.
Yeah.
That's kind of
It's
true.
a down year for betting, Sean. Know your
Get with the
facts.
program, dude. Pay attention.
Can't get me to do that.
We'll
Right.
be back later this week to talk about the upcoming Week 16 as the playoffs get nearer and nearer. And Tybo's going to have more tips that you need to
Pew, pew,
win
pew,
your
pew.
fantasy league. So stay tuned. Till next time. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.